Welcome to the Luck Time Podcast. It's our first rotational podcast after our hiatus, and we couldn't have picked a better show to come back with than Yamada-kun and the Seven Witches. Join us as we talk about the delights of a non-harem harem, how the witch parts are not as involved as you might think, and how our only real complaint was that there wasn't more of it. It feels weird to jump back into one of these after having been on our hiatus.
Oh, yeah?
Because it just, the seasonal stuff, like, we can just be like, oh, wow, seasonal stuff, right? But, like, when you have to do a cold open for one of these, it's just one of the most insufferable things. It's just like, what do I fucking do with this, huh?
Yeah, like, where's the hot open?
The hot open. What is a hot open?
I don't know.
Paint me a picture.
Opposite of a cold open? I don't know.
Is a hot open not one that you are extraordinarily prepared for? Is that not like a scripted opening?
It's like
a cold open's just like go, right?
I guess, but maybe it's like a hot take and a cold open combined. Maybe you have like a hot take at the beginning.
Okay, so a hot take, cold open. A hot take for Yamada-kun and the Seven Witches would be, what would, well, okay, I guess I don't have to believe it.
Yeah, it's just for content. It doesn't have to be real.
Otagiri should have won. Best girl.
You're wrong. Okay, next. Next slide, okay. Please.
Okay, should we try another one? Sayonji was best girl. She should have won.
Okay, all right. You just scrap the whole PowerPoint. Just forget it.
Hold on, no, wait. I've got one more. Tsubaki is best girl. He should have won.
Well, there's one part of this that's accurate. These are definitely hot takes. They're definitely not good ones.
I prefaced that from the start.
Yeah, you did.
But you said content.
Yeah, you did, but I don't know. Usually hot takes are usually believable. I don't think any of those statements were.
I guarantee you that there are folks out there that are like, Nene Otagiri should have
No, let's not even think about that. Sorry. If those people are listening, you're wrong.
I agree. I 100% agree. Things ended how they should have. But I'm just telling you, much like all the folks in Rent-A-Girlfriend that have very bad opinions about who the best girl is, I guarantee you they exist for this show.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure. I mean, they exist for every show that's kind of like this. Like, some people think Onodera was best girl in Nisekoi, and they're also wrong. So, it's like that.
What do you mean?
I mean what I said.
Well,
obviously.
What? I think I misheard you, Matt. I think I had something in my ear. You know what? I'm just going to pretend like I didn't hear anything. And we're going to talk about Yamada-kun and the Seven Witches. Because we did our due diligence and we got into the goddamn anime. Let's roll. I had been meaning to watch this for quite a long time, it feels like. But I feel as though I really only became aware of it in the last, like, year or so. I don't know. It's part of this very weird, like, anime portfolio that kind of opened up to me during the pandemic, and I'm like, I suddenly want to watch all these series, and it feels like I've wanted to watch these series for millennia. But in fact, it's just like, oh no, I just saw the OP a bunch, like, everywhere, and I'm like, oh yeah, classic, gotta do it.
Everyone, the Backloggers.
Exactly. we can wrap the cast here.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I remember when this aired, and I wasn't like particularly, well, I was kind of interested in it, but probably not for the reasons I was interested in it now. My tastes were,
it was like 6 years ago.
Yeah, so I was kind of interested in it, and I was always like, it was one of those anime that I was always like okay, I need to read the manga first, because apparently the manga's better, but then I learned that, everyone just fucking says that about everything that originates from a manga, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and it's like, oh wow, I have to form my own opinion.
Yeah, anyway, that's the general consensus that I had, and I was like, okay, I'll watch the anime eventually, and then I was like, oh yeah, maybe I should actually watch the anime now, because, I'm my own person, and I'm, source material people kind of like the source material. So
yeah,
it just is like that. But yeah, like honestly, like I'm glad I watched the show. Like it was.
God, me too.
Like it was pretty good. It was everything that I wanted in the show, mostly. Some caveats. But honestly, like I'm glad I watched the show. Like that was awesome. Like,
yeah,
that was like, if you wanted something that was Matt core, that was it right there.
Yeah, the whole time I was watching it, that was a thought that was pretty consistently going through my head. I was just like, I know that Matt is eating this shit like 2 spoons, just going to town on this thing.
Yeah, that's like you buy the whole tub of ice cream and you eat it just in one sitting. Like it doesn't.
It's a one go.
And it wasn't like one of those like pints of ice cream. This is like a whole half-gallon sort of deal.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I was just like, yes, this anime is good. It actually, by the time I realized I was watching the anime, it was on episode 5, and I was like, oh, nice, okay, that's great. And I was like, crap, it's half over. What happened to it?
Yeah, but man, like this show flew by. Like I had to split it up into 2 because of work and such. But had circumstances not arisen, I would have done it entirely in one sitting, because man, does this show not at all feel like the amount of time you put into it. Like it feels as though it has gone in a blank.
Yeah, that was a very easy marathon for me. I was just like, wow, like this is the most easily digestible show I have ever seen. Like
man,
so good.
It's so nice to watch a big, like, multi-character, like, quote-unquote harem kind of show.
Harem
I can't even
adjacent,
really call it harem,
I guess.
Because, like, it takes on a lot of the, like, general ideas of a harem, and it looks like on the outside it would be a harem, but it absolutely is not. And it's such a bait and switch. And the switch is so incredibly good, and I just found myself being like, wow, I'm really glad that this is not what I had envisioned it was going to be.
Right.
In a lot of ways. Because, like, I mean, they're kind of like you mentioned, like, shows like Nisekoi and things like that, where, like, Best Girl Onodera should have won, but,
wrong.
We're not here to talk about that. But I have come to be very picky about shows like that, because it is very easy for a harem to just become completely insufferable. And I feel as though this show could have potentially been incredibly insufferable had it had a very slight adjustment in tone or direction. But oh my god, it is so cool to see what this series does with, like, a lot of traditional romance and harem trappings. It's so fucking neat. Like the idea of a high school, like, romance anime, like, opening up, largely speaking, its first episode with a kiss, and with, like, multiple kisses, and for the kiss, which is all for a lot of shows and series, like, that golden thing that they're chasing for seasons and volumes of manga, for it to just, like, be gotten out of the way at the start, and then for it to be this consistent tool that is used for story progression throughout the whole thing, and it is treated very differently than it normally is in anime like this. I was just like, oh my god, y'all are completely blowing my mind with this.
Yeah, I guess for me, that was part of it, I guess, because I was like, wow, like, yeah, they were breaking the conventions already, but we're also, like, yeah, the way they used, like, the kiss, and, like, add to, like, I don't even know what you call it, like, well, in the first episodes, it's a lot of body swapping, which
Yeah.
I have my whole opinion about body swapping anime and that they're not good. But this one,
The use of it here was pretty fun.
yeah, okay. The use of it in this anime was actually really good because usually it's not used for comedy. It's usually for contrived drama, which is you know, not good. Typically. And yeah, honestly, like by the second or third episode, it was getting a little ridiculous, and I was like, oh my god, am I gonna have to like, I actually had a fear by like a fear not fear sort of thing. By like episode 3 or 4 where they started body swapping and they figured out that it was like conductive in between like individuals. And like
it could stack and chain.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to take notes by episode 7 if they keep doing this crap, because I'm gonna lose track of who's who, and I'm not gonna be able to know. And
I had the same exact thought, because there was that one scene where they all just like daisy chained it. And it's like, you know, like Yamada's in Shiraishi's body, but Shiraishi is in Miyamura's body, and Miyamura is in Ito's, who used to be in Odagiri's. And I'm just like, I am going to choose to turn my brain off and not think about who's where, and it will sort itself out.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at. I was just thinking, oh god, this is going to be rough. I hope to... Well, I was kind of... But secretly, I was kind of hoping that there would be like a finale that would involve like a massive, like, weird body swap thing. It didn't go there, of course, because the dynamics were different than I thought they were going to be. But there was a lot of very interesting, what would you call it, build up, I guess, that I was going to be that, and I was kind of excited but also kind of terrified. So
but for them to swing so wide then and be like, oh hey, gotcha, actually the body swap thing was a total dupe, and here's a whole freaking world of powers instead.
Yeah,
so
that was a twist in of itself, you know?
It really was. And I think that the way that they managed to not make any like of the witch's powers like individually like completely broken in a lot of ways, except for like Saionji's, I think it made for a really interesting balance, you know, in terms of like a witch of the week sort of thing. Some of the episodes were like, I guess maybe a little slower than others. Like Otsuka's with her like telepathy brain power, like that episode was fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, and some of them were kind of hit and miss, and I'm kind of at the point where I really loved this show, and I think that in terms of characters themselves, all the witches and the casts are quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I got out of this and I'm like, oh, that was really fun. And the moment I was done and the credits rolled, I was like, okay, so I think I do need to actually just read the manga now at this point. Because having dug in a little bit and seeing that like this was airing maybe halfway through the manga's like lifespan, I was just kind of like, oh wow, there's a whole 2 years worth of shit in here that is, you know,
not here.
Obviously not in the anime, and the anime clearly did its own anime original ending, which, as far as anime original endings go, this was not unsatisfying.
Yeah, like, I was like, okay, the manga probably is like this somehow, so, you know, I don't know if it is or not, but it probably is something like that.
Yeah.
If I was writing it.
But the fact that I was able to get out of this and still be really pleased with this ending, knowing that there is so much more beyond it, like, that is fairly uncommon in my experience. You know, I'm usually left feeling kind of hollow with an anime original ending.
Yeah.
But, you know, obviously it's a case-by-case basis.
No, I mean, I get what you mean. Like, I went and bought 10 volumes of the manga right now. So, no, I get what you mean. Like, I got to the end and I was like, this is a good show. I want to read the manga now, and that's the result. So but there's not a lot of anime that I would watch though that I would be, I guess, compelled to read the manga afterwards. I felt like there was definitely a lot of content in there that was, I don't know if cut is the right word or rushed through is the right word, but
I would lean a little more towards rush through.
It was a little personally. I was a little bit lacking, and I was just like, ooh, like I wish there was a little bit more here, like and that was just to latch onto a little bit, but
there was a good bit of the back half that felt like we were missing a lot. You know, like, I mean, it worked narratively speaking, and, you know, we could get from point A to point B just fine, but it definitely felt like I'm quite sure that there's a lot of additional context that maybe makes this more meaningful, a little more impactful and such.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, because again, about like the mid-range witches, like Noah and Otsuka and I guess Asuka is technically a witch as well, even though like we didn't get any witch shit from her. Like, I felt as though they would have been very interesting characters had they had more time to actually be fleshed out.
Yeah,
you know,
like that's what I wanted. I wanted a little bit more character context, I guess. Yeah, and I was just like, I know it's there. It has to be, because there's a whole freaking. It seems from the covers of the manga, it looks like, you know, they have their own volume. So it's like, and I don't know if that's really the case or not, but I'm saying that's just my perspective from what I saw.
Yeah, no, that's what it seems like anyway.
And I was thinking, man, like, that's a lot of pages. So I was thinking, like, that's
a lot of pages.
And I was just thinking, like, you know, I wish I want more. And there's definitely, obviously, more that came after the anime was finished. So, you know, there is all that, like you said, as well. So it's kind of like, I know there's more content here and I want it. So give it to me, like, sort of thing. Like, I kind of wish the anime was longer, but I mean, as you said, the anime is perfectly, I mean, it's fine the way it is. I don't have any, I have complaints, but they're honestly minuscule. And I mean, this is about as good of an adaptation, I guess, as you could ask for, honestly.
I would agree. I do feel like, you know, even if it still was only getting one season, I feel like it would have benefited from being a 2-core.
Yeah.
Because, like, again, I really have to give this thing credit, because for as much as, you know, I'm saying it feels like there's a lot rushed and that a lot of characters weren't fleshed out, despite all that, I still feel very strongly in that, like, I had a great time with this series, and there's a lot of shows that would have similar circumstances that I could not say the same about.
Right.
And it's such a weird spot to be in, because I'm like, I want it to be more developed, but at the same time, it's just like, that was a good 12 episodes.
Yeah. So
I'm conflicted.
Yeah,
you know?
Because it was solid. Like, I was like, dang, I liked what they did. Like, there's not like, there wasn't any complaints in that regard. It was just like, dang, I want more. Sad face. Yeah. Tear emoji. Yeah. You know?
Because I don't think any of the actual, like, scenarios of any of the witches were bad, per se. Like Sarashima with her, like, the future prediction sort of stuff. I thought that was very interesting. It was a pretty cool scenario, and I don't feel like, you know, it was a contrived kind of ending to it. But I'm with you. I'm just like, that would be cool. I also think it would be a cool scenario if there was more to it. And like same thing with like Otsuka with her, you know, telepathy sort of thing. There is so much potential for that to be used in really interesting ways, like outside of her specific arc, and I would have loved to have seen that be the case. But for it to just be like, oh yeah, she's a witch, we found her, anyway, let's move on, let's go. I was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Give me throw me a bone, man. Give me something.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of what it's like. I feel the same way, I guess. It's complicated. especially with shows like this, it's really complicated because it's like, ooh, it was good, but man, it like, and obviously like we're sitting here kind of critiquing it that it can be better, but then it's also like, but we really like the product, so it's kind of like, you know.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think a lot of how I'm critiquing it is, from a position of knowing that there's, this was an anime original ending, the manga was still airing, and the manga kept going for another 2 years. Like, having that kind of knowledge is, like doing some serious metagaming with it.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
It's kind of, we're kind of metagaming it here because we're doing this 2 years, or 2 years. How many years?
This a while out.
Six years after the anime aired or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's very easy for us to be like, well, it would have been cool if there was more there, but like that's not really fair to the anime itself because it's not as though like they were cutting content that was already there. You know what I mean?
So
it's just like, well,
unfair.
We've got what we've got, so let's make use of it.
Yeah, there might have been 2 or 3 volumes additional out at the time, and there wouldn't be enough content for another core probably. So exactly. we're kind of backseating a little bit here, I guess. But
which again, I think is a testament to the quality of the show, because if the only thing that we can like majorly critique is, well, it would have been cool to have more of it, even though there wasn't any more, like it's a little hard to fault it.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit yeah, we're getting a little bit meta here, so
it's not quite fair.
Yeah, so that's how it be sometimes, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I like the show. I was very satisfied by when I was done, and I was just like, yep, I want more. So
I would agree. I got to the end of it, and I was just like, that is the cutest shit. I swear to God, that was I came out of there like I ate some good fucking food with that.
Yeah, that was like I was like, that was wholesome. Okay, more please, thank you.
Yes. I know that there's like an OVA or something like that as well, or something like that. There's definitely
another episode,
animated kind of thing. Yeah. But
I mean,
maybe 2 OVAs. It looks like.
Oh,
I don't know. There's 2 sorts of things. I don't really know what they are, but I do also know that like this got like a live action drama adaptation as well, which is fascinating. Yeah, my thoughts too. But I'm like, wow, this was that successful.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like, holy shit.
Interesting.
But again,
not the show I would think that would get a live action adaptation, but okay.
Yeah, I know. But I think that's one of the interesting sort of things is that while there is so much, like witch magic and shit going on and all this supernatural stuff, none of it is presented in such a way that you would even need like big flashy like special effects or anything like that. Most of it is just super simple. And I thought that was a really neat way to approach all of it in terms of, how are you presenting the magic and the powers, and how does this like manifest to people, in its orbit. And it made it feel like, as weird as it might seem to say this, it made it feel like pretty grounded in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Like, for a show that has witches in the title, there's not a lot of magic stuff involved. Like, I mean, there's supernatural stuff, but not like traditional witch magic things that you would think of.
Yeah.
There's no wands.
Like casting spells.
They don't even get to wear the big hats that they see in the opening, which, I mean, I'm a little sad about that, but I mean,
it's a huge missed opportunity.
They don't even wear the hats in the show. So, like, when we're saying witch here, we're using the word witch very liberally.
Yeah, the lack of hats is a serious point demerit in my numerical score.
Oh my gosh.
On AniList.
Oh man, yeah, you gotta have big hats. Sorry.
Yeah. Which is also extremely Matt core. Big hats.
Yeah. Again, Big hats,
That's
man.
what drew you to it in the first place.
Yeah. It was secretly. If you look at my anime list, I gotta watch all anime that have big hats. Yep.
Cute girls doing big hat things.
Yeah, that's in the genre. Cute witches doing hat things.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so I don't know. So I just thought that the show didn't. I mean, it didn't have a lot of those aspects. But you know what? Probably better that it didn't.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
that's just extra stuff you don't need. This shows that you can have witches and you don't need it.
Yeah.
Revolutionary.
I think that's one of the most interesting parts about it is that even though there is a very large, like, supernatural conceit to the show, so much of what happens in it is really just kind of a pretty basic human drama and a very solid character drama.
Mm-hmm.
And it's predicated largely on character development and interaction and less on just, well, we're going to magic good to fix everything.
Yeah. Yeah, if you really think about it, there wasn't even like a whole lot of the supernatural abilities like being used in those arcs. I mean, there was some, but it wasn't like a hefty amount like we were talking about. Like there wasn't like some body swap daisy chain to, you know, like we didn't get all the witches together and we like chained all the abilities together to try to get like this like galaxy brain plot here. It was pretty simple, all things considered.
Like, Sarashima's future sight, like, got used realistically in, like, maybe 2 different scenarios. And even then, it wasn't
game-breaking.
The central, like... Yeah, exactly. The telepathy, I swear to God, was not used outside of Otsuka's arc. I really don't think it was used beyond that episode.
Sad, but okay.
Takigawa's, like trauma dream thing absolutely didn't happen beyond her episode.
Also sad.
Yeah, Asuka's invisibility thing, which, you know, Tamaki had, was also, like, pretty largely just glossed over.
Yeah.
And so it just felt like a lot of the powers were kind of just like...
I was pretty convinced that he forgot he had it at a certain point. I was like, oh, okay.
They're just kind of like a formality at this point, you know?
Yeah. In name only.
Yeah, which, again, I don't personally have a problem with, because I feel like a lot of series could do something like this and put too much of an emphasis on them to the point where it would, like, kind of be insufferable or convoluted to a degree that is really unnecessary. So I kind of really appreciate the restraint in some ways.
I appreciate it, but I also wish it was a little bit more ridiculous. If I was writing this, trust me, I would definitely have a very convoluted scene somewhere in there. It may not be like near the end. It may just be somewhere in the middle, just to have it super convoluted. Yeah, that'd be me. That's how I would write it. But
just something to be like, okay, so you've been patient all this time.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna freak your brain. I'm gonna freak your brain out a little bit. Let's go.
Well, it'd be more like, I hope you guys have been paying attention, because shit's about to get real, and I hope you're paying attention to the rest of it.
I hope you've been taking notes.
Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, because wouldn't that be awesome? Like, to have, like, a chapter of the volume where you had, like, you know, 5 of the 7 witches' powers needing to be used, like, trying to, like, solve this big meta puzzle at play.
Oh,
like,
God.
you could almost hear the, like, discussions taking place about the show during this arc. Like, people would be taking notes and relaying their opinions on what they should be doing and stuff. Like, see, like, I want
Miles
that.
Message boards would have been a nightmare.
Oh man, see, I would live for that. That's what I see. That's how I would write it, though. But like, just once to have one like that, and then people
write it just so you could have like a red thread all over a cork board kind of reaction.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, maybe the rest of the manga that I would write afterwards, everyone would be like, man, it's not as good as that part. But you know what? If you know that one part, people would be like, you got to read it for at least that. You know that people would be like that.
Oh yeah.
So
100%.
So anyway, yeah, that's what I would have done. But again, I do appreciate the simplicity, and simplistic properties of the show because
But
I didn't need to take notes. Thank you.
But now that you've opened this Pandora's box and have like breathed this possibility to life, I can't stop thinking about it now, and I'm just left wanting.
I know, right?
What have you done?
That's what I'm telling you.
What's wrong with you?
That's what I'm telling you. Like, that would have been so cool. Even though I would have hurt my brain probably thinking about it. It would have been awesome. Like,
oh my god.
I'm obviously not creative enough to write a fanfic, but trust me. I wish there was one like that. Maybe like a author written fanfic.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know? So.
Oh.
Oh, man. I want that so bad now. Wow.
I think I'm going to have to put yet another point down on my Annie-list score on it. Just because it's not this.
Oh, my God. You gotta revel in the chaos a little bit. Yeah. I just want to see chaos, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And my god, like, this show had a pretty solid amount of it anyways.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate having a full-on gremlin cast of just fucking ding-dongs and idiots and a few straight men here and there.
Yeah, that was very solid. I definitely enjoyed all the characters. It was fun.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think I've witched out.
You've
witched
out.
I think that there were a couple good bursts there, and that's largely what I have to say about it.
Yeah.
It was a great time. I want more. I want whatever the fuck you're on from it as well. And I stand by that.
Yeah. Somebody should make a manga about this. Like not about this show, just like rewrite the anime or rewrite the show, or you know, maybe there's something out there that has that. Please let me know. Like
Kamada Yoon and the Seven Sorceresses or something.
Yeah, just anything. Just tell me if there's an anime that has like this kind of galaxy brain plot that I need to know about, or a manga,
for sure,
because I want it. So
report in if you have information. The Backloggers hotline is open at all times.
It is.
Oh my god.
Are you okay?
I'm not going to be able to stop thinking about this, Matt. Like, you don't understand you've done.
That's why I had to share it.
Like, I'm just like, I can't. I need. We got to wrap this up because I'm literally not going to be able to stop talking about this, and I'm just going to be a mess.
Yeah, you're gonna start thinking of ways to make it actually happen. And
please stop. I'm begging you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm on my knees here. Okay. I think that's it.
I think you're right. Okay. Well, thanks again for stopping in as usual. We'll see y'all next time.
Yep. Stay tuned next time for the chaos.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening. As always, you can find all our podcasts, articles, videos, etc. at thebacklogers.com. Our intro and outro song is The Bear by Shell in the Pit. You can find on Spotify and Bandcamp. And we'd love to hear from y'all in the comments on our site, on the podcast platform of your choice, or by giving us a quick smooch. No body swapping, though. And as always, we're on Twitter at @the_backloggers, so pull the log and stop in for a bit. Thanks again for stopping in as usual. We will...
Good night. Dang it.
We'll cut it. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Let me try this again.